Hi, this video shows a sequence of activities to teach the concept of tables and grids to young children with visual impairments. We're going to use hands-on activities and also tactile graphics and apply those concepts to using an iPad with gestures and VoiceOver. So in front of me I have an iPad, I have a magnet board with some tactile graphics, and I also have a box with small plastic horses. So the activity on the app will be about adding and deleting to get a certain number of animals. And early on, your student could be playing with these little farm animals. I have little plastic ones, and I also have a box that would be like a jewelry sorter tray. It has 5 rows and 5 columns and 2 rows, and there's 10 little boxes, and then I just have some of these little horses in some of the squares. So I did want to make a note about these little plastic animals. Of course, we're concerned that our students are just handling too many things that are plastic, and it doesn't mean that much to them. I do find, depending upon the student, I have students who love these little toys and tell stories, and it's a source of play and games. And there are some salient features, concepts we could be discussing. This little toy model has, you can feel the long tail, and the mane is tactile and pointed ears. So concepts that can be discussed with the student, and then also hopefully they're getting out in the real world and having experiences with actual animals and other activities. So early on, your student could be playing with this and counting, and you could start using the language of columns and rows and counting. This one also is a 10 frame, which will be something that they'll be learning a lot about in school. And then beyond that, you can be introducing them to a tactile graphic, a similar table concept, rows and columns. And here I have a magnet board where I just have some APH grid paper that I've cut the size table that I want, and then I have some little magnets that I put H's on for horse, so we can do it with the app activity. And the magnet board I used is just, or the magnets I made from sheet magnets that you can buy that are sticky, and you can just put whatever you want on those. And so now on the app, pull that forward, you can apply what the student has learned with the models and the tactile graphics. And what's important about using tactile graphics when you're learning about this digital environment is the mental mapping. So that's an important concept, because the tactile graphics give the student the overview. They can use 2 hands and build a mental map of what's happening. On the iPad or with a screen reader, if you're just swiping through or moving through, you may not have the overall map of what's happening. And it's important with tables and grids, because that'll apply to so much in the curriculum later. So let me turn on VoiceOver here, and we can look at how this works.
VoiceOver on. Math Melodies. Add or delete to get 6 horses. Press to insert or delete an animal. There is a table of 2 rows and 4 columns. Landscape.
So we have 2 rows and
Home button to the right.
2 rows and 4 columns, and there's 3 horses in this one, and we need to add 3 more horses. I did want to mention for this particular layout of 2 rows and 4 columns in Math Melodies, it's the same size as some APH grid paper. I've cut out the same size here. These are about the 1-inch square graph paper. So I could use a little painter's tape and actually stick that on
Insert
the iPad.
an animal.
stick that on the iPad. And so for an early experience for a student, they can have the tactile feel while touching the iPad, so they're hearing and feeling the moving to each box in this table. Let me do that.
Insert an animal.
Insert an animal means there's nothing in that square. There's a horse. Now if I move, I'm at the end of this row, but if I continue to move to the right, it's obvious tactilely because I've moved from the paper onto the iPad. And also I hear what that means. So let me go down and look at the bottom row here. I'm going to go down.
Insert an animal.
I'm going to go back to the left.
Insert an animal. Insert an animal.
So I found that there was 3 horses in there, and now I'm going to add some more. And let me peel my little grid paper off there. So that having that tactile and using the tactile graphics can help your student learn to move in a straight line in rows and columns, which is really tricky for little hands. So let me show the split tap if you're not familiar with it, because that helps with the mental mapping and instead of using a swipe gesture. So a split tap is when your finger drags across, and to select, you've left your finger down, and to activate that item you can tap with another finger. So it would sound like this.
Insert an animal.
I want to insert an animal, so my finger is still down, and I'm going to tap with another finger. Let me find 2 more boxes to do that with.
Insert an animal. Insert an animal.
And now I want to go find the answer button when I've finished filling in. And the next tactile graphic that you can give your student would be actually a graphic of the whole iPad screen, so that the mapping of where the buttons are and what's happening on the whole screen can be learned. So the answer button, we could feel on this graphic, is down at the bottom. So if your student was somewhere up here, they can go down to the bottom, and as they get to the bottom, they can go across to find that.
Answer button. Excellent. Dismiss. Add or delete to get 2 dogs. Press to insert or delete an animal. There is a table of 2 rows and 4 columns.
So great that it tells you about the table from the get-go. So that would be something to encourage your student to always listen carefully and maybe even repeat, so that they understand the layout before they start doing the activity. Okay.